Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the Stuff I Heard podcast. I'm your host, Josh Peak. And today is Saturday, May the 23rd, 2020, episode 227. We're cranking through these. This is sort of getting back to normal. I know during the lockdown and quarantine and whatnot, there were a lot of episodes where I was doing Zoom conferences with people who were also trapped at home. This is sort of getting back to normal. Work is getting back to normal. Here in South Carolina, our business is ramping up more and more, and we're seeing a little bit more normality. I say normality, but if you're looking at this on YouTube, you can see my face and see that I've had a haircut, and that was not normal. The barbershops and beauty salons and stuff like that were allowed to open back up this week, but there was like special things you had to do in order to get your haircut. For me personally, I had to log in online, and the different places that I tried to log in online was not very easy. There was a 3 hour maximum or 2 hour maximum that you could log in online, and then you just had to call and say, "Hey, can I be put on the list?" And they said, "Yeah, come back in 3 hours." So I went up there 3 hours later, called again, and they said, "Yeah, we still have four people in front of you. Just wait in the car, and we'll call you back." And so it was a very difficult process to get my haircut at a place. And if you lived in a smaller town, maybe this wasn't such a big deal. Or if you lived in a bigger town, maybe this wasn't such a big deal because you had more options of places to go. We do have a lot of places to go here in my small town. And I didn't go on the first day. I went on a Wednesday instead of a Monday. But still, it took a while to get in. And I guess because of that, it's a little harder to be normal. Um, I was told that when I came in, I had to wear a mask. They had some masks available, the kind that just the paper ones that fit over your ears, or what they had available. I had one that my friend Cheryl had made me. I've actually taken a photo of it and put it on Facebook. It's actually got, she made one with my logo like on the side, which is pretty dang cool. Um, but I walked in with it, and they said, "Sit over there," and they had chairs set, separated so that you'd be socially distanced, all that special stuff. Um, and we sat around in areas and just waited for them to call us. I went to a place here in town called Sport Clips. It's the first time I've ever been there. And I don't know what made me go there instead of Great Clips, except for the fact that, I don't know, I felt like Great Clips is kind of bottom of the barrel and Sport Clips is maybe just a little notch above it. I mean, every time I go to Great Clips, you never know what you're going to get. It's sort of the bargain basement of, this guy just got his license, or this lady just got her license, and she's trying to get some experience before she can open up her own shop. And, here you go, you get the student. So it's kind of like where the students are just starting to cut hair. And of course, then you got to deal with everybody, and they bring their kids in there, and it's just a mayhem of chaos a lot of times that I walk in, and I didn't want to have to compete with all that to try and get my hair cut. Plus, it's in a busier part of town. This Sport Clips is in a similar part of town, but it tends to mostly generate traffic for dudes. I mean, because they they advertise that they have TVs all over the place and they show sports and stuff like that. So, I went in thinking, okay, well, at least I won't have to compete with all of that just to have a seat. And it wasn't what I thought it would be. Without sports going on right now, the only thing that was on the TV was just commentators talking about the Jordan documentary that was put out. Um, I guess it was supposed to be about the Bulls, but then it turned out being about Jordan. So that was just them talking about it because they got nothing to do. They're like, yeah, let's talk about it. We have a sports channel with no sports. So um, I had talked a little bit on this on the 2 year anniversary podcast with Josh Treadaway, and he said that he's been staying up and watching Korean baseball. So did my brother. They've been staying up late and watching Korean baseball. But here we are. It's been about a week or two later, and now NASCAR apparently raced in Darlington, which is nearby, with no fans in the crowd. They just broadcast it online. Um, Football's talking about having a season without any fans in the stadium. I mean, would that be weird? I mean, it would be weird. It would be weird for them because you could hear everything. It'd be weird for us because we could hear everything, but we'd at least get to watch football, which is entertaining in itself. And if you did that, you could control who gets tested and how and stuff like that. But then, they always come into contact with people outside of the stadium. So, in your flight, in your bus trip, and you're staying in hotels and coming into contact with other people along the way, you're going to be exposed to things and people. And I think it's unavoidable that we're all going to have a herd immunity at some point. Um, Again, we've talked about this before. It seems to be unavoidable at some point that we're all going to get a version of this, or we've had a version of this, or whatever. You know, it's so unknown and it's so difficult to work around. But so anyway, back to Great Clips. I'm sitting in the chair. The lady brings out a trash can liner, one of those plasticky, white, clearish trash can liners, and scissors, and she starts to do some origami stuff, and she cuts out a little thing, and she ties it around my neck like a cape backwards. And I'm like, okay. It's a little tight too, and I'm thinking, I don't like having things tied around me pretty tightly. It's not one of my favorite things. I have a little bit of a claustrophobia thing at a certain point. And if I get too freaked out, I'll act like Hulk and I'll just smash out of it because I'm like, I can't do this, and I'll just get out of it. And I really almost got to that point in the chair with the plastic trash can liner around me because it wasn't comfortable. But I thought, you need a haircut, just shut your mouth, get the haircut. So I did. I didn't know what they were going to do whenever they started trimming up around my ears. I didn't know if they were going to be like, all right, remove your mask and just hold it right here. Nope. She had a spot of her comb that was just extra gapped out. She just pulled the thing aside, trimmed around it, pulled it aside, trimmed around it, and got the haircut done. She's trying to make chit chat, but I couldn't. I mean, you couldn't hear me through my mask through the clippers. So I mean, it was just like a weird, broken conversation. I don't know. It's weird. I did get a haircut though, so thank you to them for getting my haircut. Even though it took me 4 hours to get my haircut versus the normal make an appointment, show up, hop in the chair, and you're out within 20 minutes. So anyway, that was an experience. I would like to give a couple of shout outs to different folks, um, specifically our local beer and liquor store, Mickey Finn's. They're I don't have a paid advertisement for any of these people, but I went to them and I said, "Hey, my wife and her friends like this hard seltzer that came out called Press. I can't find it in any stores." I did reach out to them on social media, and they sent me a message back saying, "Oh, we sent some to your local IGA through a distributor," and they actually sent me a picture back. So shout out to Press for that. That was really cool. I took that picture to Mickey Finn's and I said, "Hey, is there any way you guys can start carrying this? I mean, I got the choice of buying it from an IGA or you guys, and I like you guys. You're a local business. You're right here. I'm coming to you guys anyway to buy my Line Kugel Summer Shandy in a can. So can I buy the press while I'm here?" And they were like, "Sure." So they've been getting it in stock on a regular basis, and I've been going there and buying it, and it's pretty good. Um, I don't like a lot of the seltzer stuff. I've tried it. I'm not a club soda fan or tonic fan, but this has a flavor to it. It's not bad. I had one called lemongrass lime. It tastes like a Sprite. I was like, I could see you pouring this over some ice and just going, "Hey, this is kind of nice." They have different flavors. Right now, they're selling a multi pack that's like 4 different flavors in the pack, and that's the only one I've tried. I'll try more, but so far I like it. If you're curious about trying that kind of stuff, I highly recommend trying it. If you can't find it at Mickey Finn's, go ask them. Say, "Hey, can you start carrying this more? I'd like to get some." And if they're like, "Yeah, every time I get it, this guy buys it," that's me. Sorry. They also have it at IGA in Quimby. I don't know why they only have it in Quimby. There's multiple IGAs in town, but Quimby seems to be the one place they put the display. 5 cases in the display. Anyway, let's talk about stuff I heard, because this is the Stuff I Heard podcast. Okay. I've been listening to a lot of Dan Cummins' Time Suck. If you guys don't know, Dan Cummins is a comedian, and he has a podcast called Time Suck, where he does a lot of research. Him and a team of people do a lot of research, and he goes through and reads you the facts, and it's usually about something pretty interesting. I've talked in the past about listening to several episodes about this thing and that thing. The Civil War one was really fascinating. I really enjoyed it, and he does a few of these on like serial killer type stuff, and it's the train wreck that that I can tolerate. I've talked about this before. Some people see a train wreck and they're like, "Oh, I can't wait to watch it." And I'm the kind of person that sees a train wreck and goes, I don't need to see that." I don't know if this is because it's in the past and it's an audio version. I'm not looking at images. Him talking about it and saying this is what happened and this what happened, and then he talks about how awful it is, and he makes jokes along the way. To me, it makes it more digestible, but also interesting. He talks about what a piece of crap some of these people are and some of the horrific things they do, and he never forgets to say, anything other than this guy was a real piece of crap, and I can't believe that he got away with this for so long, and you know, so I mean, it's sort of like being on the right version of history the entire time that you're listening to it, because this is after the fact, and of course, these guys have either been caught or they're dead by now, and that kind of stuff. So, uh, I listened to one the other day about the Kansas City butcher, Robert, was it Robert Berdella or something like that? Very frightening. Then I recently listened to an episode where he did on Leonard Lake and Charles Ng, and holy crap, that was terrifying, very terrifying. I can't believe that these guys exist. It makes me very cautious when I think about the fact that a lot of this was going on when I was a kid. A lot of this happened in the early '70s, in the '70s and early '80s. A lot of serial killers, a lot of crazy crap going on, and I don't know if it was just um, the accessibility of drugs, the um, ineptitude of our police force, the fact that we didn't have a centralized database, the fact that the internet wasn't invented yet, so that you couldn't look at images anywhere you go and find out if someone's using a fake ID or not. I mean, there were multiple times where they could have been caught along the way, and they just weren't. And it's like, God, I mean, you don't want. I mean, here's this weird thing: you don't want to live in a police state where you are watched 24/7, and they people are just looking at you doing random shit that's just normal stuff, like going to the grocery store, taking your kids to the park, stuff like that. That's just there would be like an infringement of your personal space or your personal, whatever you want to call it, freedoms, of them just watching you do everything. But yet we're doing that now because we're on our phones and we're literally showing everybody, hey, I'm going to the park with my kids. Hey, I'm grilling out. Hey, I'm building this. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's a positive to that. Maybe if there's a serial killer out there, he's out there making photos and videos, and he's like, "Hey guys, today I abducted someone," and someone will see the video and they'll go, "Hey, we need to go get this guy." I mean, it's like that show that was on Netflix, "Don't F with Cats," where these ladies watched a video of a kid torturing a cat or killing a cat on YouTube or something like that, and they found the kid. They like alerted police and found the kid, and turns out he was getting ready to kill some people, and so that's what I hear. I didn't actually watch it. This is the stuff I heard podcast. You can tell them I heard this idiot talk about this thing that he didn't even see. Yeah, that's me. So, um, I did watch some really cool shows recently. I got on a comedy binge. I listened to a podcast with Bert Kreischer talk to Jimmy O Yang. Jimmy O Yang, I recognized him from Silicon Valley. Apparently, he was also on Crazy Rich Asians, and he talks about being on The Internship. And there's a few shows that he's been on, and he's originally from Korea. He talks. I guess he had a really good Mark Maron interview on WTF. If you guys know Mark Maron, he has a podcast called WTF. Um, Bert wanted him on after listening to it because he was like, "I could not believe your story. Holy cow, that was amazing." And Jimmy talks a little bit about that on the Bertcast. He talks about coming to America and not knowing much English, trying to learn, trying to fit in, not really fitting in with anybody. Trying to get into acting. Um, it's an interesting. He's an interesting guy and an interesting story. The reason he was on the podcast to begin with is he has a new comedy special that's on Amazon Prime called Good Deal, and he talks about how his family really puts a lot of importance in buying a good deal. And he's like, even when I got older, I could afford to buy a nice shirt. He said, I bought a shirt. And immediately when I see my aunts, they question me, how much was that? I got it for $20. Oh, that's not a good deal. You could have got it from so and so for a good deal. And they just give him a hard time about he didn't get a good deal. And he's like, but I'll tell you, he goes, even though now that I'm doing movies and stuff like that, and I could afford to buy a nice place, I'm in a rent controlled 1 bedroom apartment that I'll never give up because it's a good deal. And he's like, he just kind of goes into the same thing of giving up, of saying, hey, I've basically become my family, and I'll admit it, I'm in the same boat. He's got a very funny special. I really enjoyed it. There's a lot of these comedy specials I'll take a chance on because I'm like, I don't know, he sounds kind of cool. We'll see what happens. And yesterday was one of those days where I just happened to watch a really good comedy special, and it was good. I went from that to watching Jerry Seinfeld's new special on Netflix called 23 Hours to Kill. He starts off very interestingly like a sort of like a James Bond thing of, he's flying over New York, and he's looking out the window, and he's like, you can just drop me off anywhere. And he goes, we can't land here yet. He goes, I'll just get out. And like there's footage of him jumping out of a helicopter into the Hudson Bay. I guess it is. It's a body of water near New York. I'm guessing it's the Hudson Bay. He's in a wetsuit, but he jumps out of the helicopter into the water. And I'm like, that's a weird way to start it. But then it shows him like running out of the water, running into the complex, still in his wetsuit, still soaking wet. And he peels off the thing. And then all of a sudden he's in a 3-piece suit or a suit, black suit. It's just a neat cutaway thing that they did to kind of make the intro a little fun. They do show some stuff at the end of it where they show him practicing in a pool with a guy on a regular basis, and he kind of gets the hang off of jumping off of something of an elevated area. So he planned for it. He actually did the stunt. It was him. So it was pretty cool. But the special was hilarious. I laughed a lot. I did not realize, he talks about this in the special, that he's 65 years old. He looks like he's still in his late 30s. I mean, whatever fountain of youth this guy has, it's working. I don't know if it's living your best life. I don't know if it's, the fact that he's got money, genetics. Maybe he just takes care of himself really well. He looks great. He does a lot of physical comedy on screen, which I did not expect. But he gets around great. He looks fantastic. The stuff he's talking about is really funny. In the beginning, he really talks about the fact of, thank you for coming out. I know this is a big deal. You had to do a lot to get here. He sort of acknowledges the fact for you and for him, what it takes to be where you are. And he's like, I just want to say thank you. He goes on and on and on about it. And then he starts talking about, his life with his family and his kids. He didn't get married till he was 45. Talks about, how interesting and challenging it is to be a dad, all the fun stuff that comes along with being a husband, and the challenges you have there too. And it was great. I rank it probably in one of the top 5 comedy specials I've seen this year. It's really, 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 really good. Really good. I laughed through the whole thing. There wasn't a spot where I was just like, The whole thing was funny. Okay. And I know there's some people out there that are like, I just don't like Jerry Seinfeld. Okay, fine. Listen, not everybody likes Doritos. I like Doritos. I'm just saying. It's good. So then I thought, all right, well, I'm on a comedy swing, man. Let's do this. I had also seen Patton Oswalt do an interview with Joe Rogan this past week, where Joe Rogan announced that he's leaving the YouTube platform and going exclusively to Spotify as of first of the year. That was the intro. Then he does a good podcast with Patton Oswalt through Zoom or Skype or whatever. So Patton Oswalt has a 2-part comedy special on Netflix, which is misleading. It's not 2 parts of him. The first part is him. The second part is a guy that he knows that does comedy, that he was like, I like this guy. I'm just putting him on my platform because I figured I'm going to give him a chance with my platform. The comedy special with Patton is the first one. He does it in Charlotte. They built him a nice stage. I'm guessing it's at the Ovens Arena. I've been to Charlotte many times. It looks like the Ovens Arena. Um, he addresses the fact that he's his wife had passed away. He's gotten remarried. He's raising his daughter. She's 10 now. Um, he's 50 now. He talks about challenges of being 50 and stuff like that. He goes into a bit of a political rant for a little bit. I mean, he's not a Trump fan. He's a Trump hater, I guess you'd say. Um, and I've always heard it said that if you're doing comedy, one of the things you don't want to do is talk about religion, politics, or football, because you're going to alienate half your audience no matter what. With football, maybe even more than that. But he does it. And I'm not a fan of the political stuff that he's doing. Although he has a funny reference where he talks about, I can't make jokes because I just look at real life and I go, that's funnier than anything I can come up with. And in a way, he's right. I mean, whether you're a fan or a hater of Trump, if you look at the real life situation of what's going on, you go, I mean, if you just look at what's going on, it's funny and terrible at the same time, no matter what part of this you're on. So, I'm getting phone calls and text messages all of a sudden, um, from family. I don't know what's going on. I'll have to address that as soon as this is over. Sorry. So anyway, the Patton Oswalt special is pretty good. Okay, there are parts in it that are hilarious. To me, Patton laughs a lot like my buddy Greg Steele. He has this real loud guttural kind of laugh, and I don't know. There's something about it that always makes me giggle. The fact that he's just like, yeah, this cracks me up, and he acknowledges it himself. Um, but there's some truths in some stuff that he says that I find to be pretty funny. Listen, on my comedy scale, like if I'm ranking it 1 through 10, this is about a 7, 6 or a 7, somewhere in there. Yeah, about a 7. I'll give it a 7. I'll give Seinfeld a 10. It was really good, and this is about a 6 or 7, 6.5. We'll say 6.5. Okay. He doesn't care. Nobody cares. I'm just saying this to listen. This is stuff I heard. You can be like, hey, this jerk I saw gave you a 6.5, and he's like, who? Who is this jerk? Yeah, listen, I'm the jerk. Sorry. Listen, I can't do what you do. What you do is impressive, and for me to even be some type of critic is I'm just a person. Okay. I think what you do is amazing, and I don't want to poo-poo on anybody's parade. I'm just saying, if you like Patton Oswalt, if you hate Trump, this is the special for you. My buddy Josh Treadaway would love it. He hates Trump. So there you go. Alex Conder, check it out. Okay, so 3 comedies in a row. Then after Patton Oswalt, he goes, hey guys, if you like this, watch my buddy so-and-so. He's the second part of this. I started watching it. I don't know the guy's name. He talks really fast. This whatever this was shot in a tiny, tiny place that maybe holds 50 people. It's not good. It's just not. I tried to stick it out. I tried to wait for some kind of sense of funny, or I know where this is going, or I can even follow what he's saying. I couldn't follow what he was saying. About, I don't know, I left it on for maybe 20 minutes, and I was like, okay, that was 20 minutes of my life I'll never get back, and I had turned it off. Then I started watching some shows because, I've missed a lot being busy. I've created busy work for myself. Not that I wasn't busy yesterday, but I also went to work for a little while. I also cut the grass, but I watched the movie Extraction with Chris Hemsworth, and I didn't realize it until I wrote it down that there's no L in his name. I always thought it was Helmsworth. It's Hemsworth, Chris Hemsworth. Listen, Extraction's it's what it is what it is advertised as. It's a lot of shooting, a lot of fighting, a lot of I can't believe this came out of that direction kind of scenario. It's an action star movie, and if you want just there's a loose plot, there's a lot of action, there's a lot of fighting. It looks like he employed every stunt worker he's ever worked with and said, "Hey, let's make a movie." And they were like, "Okay, I'm in." And it's intense. There's a lot of intense fighting and shooting and killing and throw this guy off a balcony, and oh my God, where did that car come from? And it's intense. There is a loose story there. That's okay. That's okay. I mean, yeah, it is what it is. If you want an action star movie, this is your action star movie to watch. Um, lot of intense shooting and fighting and stuff. So anyway, finished that up, and I was like, okay, what now? So I wanted something back to comedy, and I noticed a movie advertised as The Wrong Missy. This stars David Spade and two ladies that I kind of know, but I don't. Um, one is Lauren Lapkus, Lapkus, and one is Molly Sims. Lauren Lapkus, I've seen her on a lot of stuff as like she's a really funny girl. She sort of looks funny. She's got, very large eyes. She's very thin. She has an incredible laugh. She was in Orange is the New Black as one of the security guards. She was in The Big Bang Theory for a while. She's one of those girls that immediately when you see her, you go, "Oh yeah, that girl. I've seen her and stuff." And very funny. Okay, Molly Sims, very beautiful, very normal, but very beautiful, very very beautiful. And David Spade, of course, you know David Spade from all of the Adam Sandler movies. And David Spade is his normal guy. Okay, so the way this starts off, he meets a girl on an app, and they're supposed to meet at a bar. She plays a practical joke on him just to sort of break the ice, and it turns out to be Lauren Lemkus. And we'll just call her Missy. We'll call her Missy number one, okay? Because this show is called The Wrong Missy. From that, it's a disaster of a date. Things don't go right. You'll see people in this. You'll go, "Hey, I know that guy." There's a big guy in it named Roman, who's a pro wrestler. He's in it. There's a scene with him and David Spade. It's pretty good. Lauren continues to be funny. The first Missy, she continues to be really funny, but really creepy in the sort of, oh my God, what a disaster of a blind date, but also the most interesting blind date ever. Results in him having a broken leg, David Spade having a broken leg. And then some time passes, and he's like, oh, that was awful. He gets a trip to go somewhere for work, and he bumps into a lady at the airport. Turns out to be Molly Sims, the second Missy. Okay, so they hit it off right away. Sparks fly. The conversation is just nonstop. He's thinking, "Oh, this is the girl for me. We're reading the same book. We're interested. We have the same kind of luggage." It's a little cute, meet cute the way they did it. But she has to run off to get your plane, and she's like, "Call me." So some time passes. He thinks about texting her or calling her, and he just puts it off. And when he finally does, he's got like a work trip that goes to Hawaii for, like a business trip. And he's like, "Hey, would you like to go?" He texts her, "Hey, would you like to go?" And she immediately texts back, "Oh my God, that's great." And so they text back and forth, and it gets interesting. And then, he's setting up this whole thing for a trip with her. And then somewhere along the way, he realizes, oh no, I've texted the wrong Missy, because the other Missy shows up at the airport, the first Missy, and it's a disaster. But then it gets really cool. A lot of things happen, and it's an Adam Sandler movie. Listen, it's done by the Happy Madison group. You don't see Adam in this, or at least I didn't see Adam in this. Maybe he was in costume or something like that. But all of his buddies are in it. Rob Schneider, Nick Swartzen. You'll see a lot of the usual suspects of people he has in all of his movies. Of course, it's made in Hawaii too, which, shout out to Adam. What a genius idea. He made a comment a long time ago that if he was ever going to, when he did that, he did some movie where they sent him to Hawaii, and he was like, "Hey, if I have a choice of shooting here or anywhere else, why don't I just shoot here? Because this is beautiful." And so he's kind of worked it out where every movie since, he's somehow figured out how to record it in Hawaii, because he was like, let's just do it there. And why not, right? I've been to Hawaii. It's gorgeous. If you get the chance to go, I highly recommend it. So anyway, The Wrong Missy was hilarious, funny, touching, endearing, never a dull moment. Uncomfortable at times, but still really good. It was really good. It was really good. I enjoyed it. If you like Adam Sandler movies or David Spade or any of these people, you're going to enjoy this. So, all right. So from that, I got done watching it and I was like, okay, now what? Looked on there and there was a movie that looked really cute that I thought about watching. And just in the previews, I could tell that it was like the Cyrano de Bergerac story. Okay, so if people don't know, this show is called The Half of It. Okay, the Cyrano de Bergerac story is an old story about a guy who apparently was very talented. He could do lots of things. You know, he could fence. He was a renowned poet and writer and a great orator, but he was horrendous to look at because he had like a really enlarged nose, and because of that, it made him look ugly. Um, he apparently, in the story as it goes, is interested in a girl who mistakenly starts talking to another guy, thinking that that's him writing the letters. And then there's a mistaken identity situation where Cyrano realizes the only way he can talk to this girl is through this oaf of a man who's an idiot, but he's like, at least then I can tell her how I feel. And then, of course, the story unfolds where she finds out that he's the one that said it. And there's a question of, do you like me because of me, or do you like him because he doesn't have this horrible nose? It's an interesting story. Okay, I don't know if it's based on a real person. I'm just telling you what I know. This is stuff I heard, right? Okay, so they made a movie about it in the '80s called Roxanne. Steve Martin was the guy with the screwed up nose. Um, I don't remember the girl. Doesn't matter. Same story, similar story. Funny. Steve Martin is hilarious, of course. Um, it's a good story. Okay. This is sort of a modern approach to that, but instead of a man, you have a young lady who's Chinese living in America. She lives with her father. Apparently her mother died when she was young. This is the backstory. I'm just blurting this out. Okay. Don't watch this show. This is a touching, endearing, lovely show. Okay. It's done well. This is one of the best shows I've seen so far this year. And listen, I'm a guy that likes sappy movies. So if you like sappy movies, you're going to love this. If you don't like sappy movies, you're going to be like, screw that, man. I like Extraction. Man, bullets and explosions. Okay, fine. I like that too. It was fine for what it was. If you want something with some heart in it, this has got heart in it. Okay. This young lady is the Cyrano de Bergerac character. She is from the white town that she lives in. She's seen as someone who's ugly, someone that doesn't look like them, someone they pick on because she's different. She eats different food. She rides a bicycle where they have cars. Her dad is, devastated by her mother passing, and he doesn't speak much English. He has a PhD, but he can't work and doing the stuff he knows how to do because he can't speak English that well. And he's still dealing with the fact that his wife died. And this young girl has sort of taken on the responsibility of taking care of her dad, and she's working to provide, and she's writing, school papers for kids at school for money just to help make ends meet. And she's really, really, really smart and really good at writing. And she sort of likes a young lady at the school. And she has a friend, this boy that she meets, who's a football player who's not real bright, but extremely sweet and willing to do the hard work. And he pays her money to write this girl a love letter. So see how it kind of corresponds with the Cyrano de Bergerac story? He pays her to write this letter, and he's like, "Hey, I'll pay you really good to do this. I don't have the words. I don't know what to say. I wrote this, but I don't know if this is right." When she reads it, she's like, "Oh, that's terrible." So she rewrites it. Excuse me. And they use modern technology to sort of tell the story in the fact that she's got text messages that she can text message this person as a fake account or whatever, and then she thinks she's talking to the guy. And there's several twists in this that I didn't see coming, but it's great. The whole story is done great. Every character in this has a backstory. Every character in this is interesting. It never gets creepy, and it never gets it never over sexualizes anything. It's just really done well. Um, it's one of those shows that if I had a teenager in the house, I'd be like, "Hey, watch this with me," because it's sort of important to show your kids what it's like to have a heart and what it's like to not take someone's personal appearance as being their entire person. Like when you realize what a quality person this young lady is, then you go, God, that's who I hope I could be. That's who I hope my kids could be. That's who that I'd hope my kids would end up having a relationship with. Not just her. There's several characters in this that are very redeeming and very lovely in their own special way. So, listen, my heart show of the year so far is this. It's called The Half of It. Check it out. And then, of course, to round up the evening, I started watching the show Hollywood. This is based on, post World War II. Hollywood's kicking off really fast, and they're looking for actors. Guys are coming home from the war. They're attractive, but they don't want to be in their hometown. They want to be on the big screen, so they come to Hollywood to make it big. There's a lot of actors in this. You're gonna see a ton of people in this. You go, hey, I know that person. Yeah, you know that person. When I Googled actors in it, I was like, whoa, I have no idea all these people were in this. Rob Reiner's in it. Holy crap. Um, there's a story in it about Rock Hudson. I Googled Rock Hudson last night to find out, is this true? There's a lot of this that's about Rock Hudson. Okay. He just happens to be one of the main characters in this. As a young man, him breaking into Hollywood, his story is incredible. He's not the main character. He's one of the main characters. There's like six main characters. One of the guys, a guy named Jack Castillo, he's seemingly the main character, but I Googled him, and apparently he's not based on any one person. He's based on several people. Dean Martin, Marlon Brando, like three or four people he's loosely based on their lives to make up this character. There's a young writer in it who's black, who's like, he's written this great screenplay that he can't get produced because Hollywood's like, yeah, if they find out a black writer wrote it, nobody will go see it. That was a reality back then. There's a young black actress in this who's amazing, but they're like, yeah, if we put her as a lead, nobody's going to watch this movie, and we're going to lose everything. We're going to lose all our money. We're going to lose all our credibility. No one's going to see our pictures for years. I mean, that was a reality then, and this is a greatly told story. Jim Parsons is in it. Sheldon Cooper from Big Bang, he's in it, and he's an awful person in this. And there's moments where he's on the screen and he's talking, especially like I think I was at like episode 5 or so. He has this monologue where I was just watching him going, "God, you were such a good actor." Because at no time am I in this monologue, I forgot that you played one of the most iconic roles on TV as Sheldon Cooper. In this moment, you are this guy, and you are killing it because he is really good. He owns the camera. He is such a good speaker. I mean, wow, just incredible. So anyway, go check out Hollywood if you're into that kind of stuff. Fair warning: there's a lot of gay dudes in this. A lot of gay dudes because Hollywood's full of a lot of gay dudes. I don't know if spoiler alert. I don't know if you knew that. Um, it's a little uncomfortable when it comes to the gay dude stuff, but the story is incredible. Oh, and by the way, if you Google Rock Hudson, he died of AIDS. So there you go. Just giving you a heads up. Okay, just saying. Jim Parsons, gay. Just saying. Just letting you know ahead of time, so that I don't know, someone's grandma doesn't like. I heard this show was pretty good. Oh my god, Okay, that's the one spoiler I'm going to give. Everything else you guys can figure out. I'm going to wrap this up. I don't know how long it's been. I just have been talking. The one thing about using this, I've been using Zoom to record because I actually like the way it records. The one thing about using Zoom though is it doesn't have a counter, so I don't know how long I've been talking. Anyway, I like the way the backdrop looks. Still, I like the way this black shirt looks. This is actually my buddy Greg's shirt. This is that. I don't know if you guys can see it in the YouTube. This is 95's band T-shirt. Shout out to Greg in 95. Listen, as we're getting back to normal, everybody go back out and support the restaurants and the bands and all the people that have been struggling right now. I know that your bartenders are like, "Hey guys, come see me. I need some money. I need to pay the bills." Um, go back out there. Listen, you can practice social distancing and still go out there. Wear your mask, wash your hands, don't touch your face, that kind of stuff. But like, start to interact and spread some love and help each other out as much as you can, and be courteous to each other. Don't immediately start making TikTok things of you beating each other's asses. I mean, just be courteous. That's all I'm asking. Okay. Um, you have no idea what everybody's going through. They've been going through the same crap you've been going through, but maybe on a different level. Maybe they lost loved ones. So think about that. Okay. Thank you to everybody who's been supporting the podcast. Thank you to everybody who's given me feedback lately. I greatly appreciate it. If you want to send feedback, please do. If you know me, you know how to get in touch with me. If you don't know me, Stuff I Heard Podcast at Gmail. You can reach out to me on Instagram, Stuff I Heard, um, everywhere where you can find social media, Twitter, Facebook. Just look up Stuff I Heard. Okay. If you want to check out the website and buy some merchandise, go to stuffiheard.com. And I got a merch page on there with some t-shirts that we made. Also got face masks, lots of fun stuff. Just trying to keep the ball rolling. And that's it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Please remember to rate, review, subscribe. Stay safe out there. And tune in later this week for more. That's it. Cue the cow, baby.